And what class rank are you?
I'm a senior.
Are you a tobacco user?
I am not a tobacco user.
And do you know anybody that's affected by the recent policy change?
My boyfriend is definitely affected by the recent policy change. He likes to vape, and the new policy states they have to go off campus to vape, so it's detrimental to him. I think the fact that students have to leave campus to use tobacco products is possibly a risk to their health, especially if they take solo smoke breaks, say late at night. We already don't live in a safe area to begin with, and to put students at risk by forcing them to go off campus to smoke or vape or use dip is definitely a problem.
Well, this is my first semester at the University of Tampa. I'm an assistant professor of film in the communications department, and this is my first semester here. Of course, I think there's an extreme safety issue. I mean, the university is bordered on, Kennedy Boulevard, which is a pretty good area, but on the other side of that, the Cass side of the building, I mean, it can get pretty rough in that area. And when you're forcing students to leave campus, not only are there no security guards available outside of campus, but you're forcing them to actually go into an area that's pretty unfamiliar to most kids who are freshmen, and forcing them to actually interact with a population that, isn't the most welcoming.
A student that actually has to leave campus to use any sort of tobacco, I don't necessarily agree with at all. When the school starts saying that you have to leave campus to do something, it starts getting into this weird area where, if a student lives on campus, they decide to leave campus at their own risk. And if the school is now telling them that they have to leave campus in order to do something, not only is it inconvenient for the student, but it's also a safety risk.
Well, my first week here at the University of Tampa, I was surprised when I saw signs all over the campus that basically stated that tobacco products are going to be banned on campus beginning August 28th, which was the first day of the start of the semester. That was kind of shocking to me as an avid smoker. I usually use my breaks to wander around campus smoking in between classes. So it was a bit of an inconvenience when I discovered that the university is adapting a policy that basically states that no smoking is allowed on campus.
They had smoke specified zones, which was a healthy compromise for smokers and non-smokers alike. That's just my opinion, but yes.
Well, since I don't live on campus, I don't necessarily have to smoke on campus too much. Since the new policy change has happened, I'm not smoking in between classes anymore. The designated smoking areas were a nice place to go when you had a quick break in between the class, but being that I don't live on campus, I typically just wait until I'm done with school.
My opinion on having to leave campus to smoke is it's kind of unnecessary. I think if there were suggested areas inside campus, it'd be okay. Having to travel a long distance just to get a little buzz is kind of ridiculous to me.
Well, I think it's a big inconvenience. I've met a handful of students, some of which are my own students that are smokers, and some of them actually show up late to class because they're rushing to make it to class because they have to step outside of campus to smoke their tobacco products. And the nearest exit is pretty far from my class. So, I mean, this policy is basically forcing students to leave campus and then, try to make it back if they do decide to smoke a cigarette in between their classes. I mean, I think it's a huge inconvenience on the university's part to force kids and faculty members alike to step outside of campus to smoke their tobacco products. I think, other universities that I've taught at, all of which had designated smoking areas, and to basically go out and say that the entire university is going to be tobacco-free is huge inconvenience, not only for the students, but the faculty and visitors as well. What I would like to see happen would be adapting the old policy, which is designated smoking areas for students and faculty alike.
In some ways, just because it is a private institution and we pay to be here, and they do have their rules, but at the same time, it is my constitutional right to go buy cigarettes and go buy chewing tobacco. And especially something like chewing tobacco, I should be able to use it almost wherever I want. especially because most places in public you can. Places in public have smoking areas. So I think if it's accepted in public, then it should be accepted on campus for sure.
No, I don't believe that they have any right to tell anybody over the age of 18, which is the law, where and when they're allowed to smoke their tobacco products. I understand that this is a private university and doesn't have to adhere by state rules, but I think common sense prevails when, you should definitely have designated smoking areas. I mean, I, for myself, just blatantly ignore the rules and smoke whenever I want. And every now and then I have a security guard come up to me and tell me to put it out, but I'll just go ahead and light another one. So I don't think it's really working. That's my own opinion.
If you're of the legal age to buy tobacco, I don't think anyone should be able to tell you what you can or can't put into your body.
I think that if you're of legal age to smoke cigarettes, vape, or use chewing tobacco, that it is your individual right and freedom to do so. And whether I agree with it personally or not, it is not for me to say what you should be doing with your body.
I'm very frustrated with the school because in my eyes this boils down to ethics of the rights of the individual to the rights of the people. I do not appreciate things like the big brother kind of mentality, especially when it deals with individual rights. We are adults here, and it's our bodies, it's our right to choose what we do and don't want to do. I don't appreciate the school getting rid of the healthy compromise that we had for a number of years. I feel like this is them kind of going on this trend, as we've seen in the past 2-3 years, that many campuses have gone smoke-free.
Well, there's been several studies that show that non-tobacco campuses typically don't last very long. So I don't think it will on our campus either, especially since there's been such opposition to it. That being said, we do have a very strong health department that wants to enforce this policy and has been working on it for a long time. So I could see it going in either direction.
I think they just kind of took out tobacco in general. They just tried not to make it only for cigarettes, which is kind of, again, it's just a hassle because, chewing tobacco, you can do that in your room and it bothers nobody, even a vapor. Like you said, it doesn't give off any secondhand smoke. So I think they just try to cover everything and just ban everything all at once. But it's kind of ridiculous, if they were concerned about secondhand smoke, you would think they would just ban cigarettes, but who knows?
When they're making laws and rules, they're not in our shoes. They're not the ones that are living through this every day. And I feel like, in general, the school making the smoke-free campus, that the school is targeting people that do smoke and putting them in a very negative light. And I don't agree with that at all, because people smoke for a variety of reasons, and there's many different ways to smoke or chew tobacco, or many different ways. Some people smoke just on occasion when they're going out, no big deal. Some people smoke for anxiety reasons, or it tends to calm them down, or for weight, whatever. And then there's some people that do use smoking, on a regular basis, and that's that. And so I don't think it's right to incriminate people that choose to do this, activity. It doesn't mean that they're bad people, and I don't like how the school is consciously or subconsciously labeling them as such.
I mean, we are the students that, these rules actually affect, so I don't think they should just kind of have a dictatorship over us, and I feel like we should have somewhat of a say, and just because it's college and, kids kind of want to do, their own thing, and if their thing is smoking, then, I feel like they should have a say in if they get to smoke on campus or not.
Yeah, I think that if students were able to vote on policies like these, it would be much more effective for the general wants and needs of the students. I think that if they were given a voice, we would find that we would actually have a not smoke-free campus, because there are a good deal of students who do smoke, use chewing tobacco or vape.
many friends and acquaintances that, you know, do and don't, and so to each his own, and, you know,